So when I made the first zoetrope, I set out to make the zoetrope, but I didn't really have a plan of how I was going to execute it. I wanted it to be 3D, so I made the animation in 3D, and then I tried all sorts of things. I tried modeling, I tried creating folding shapes that matched the geometry, and then a friend of mine suggested 3D printing. So we managed to get the animation 3D printed at the university, and that was like a revelation. It was like, oh, okay, that's how to do it. And what was really interesting to me was I could have all the digital workflows that I was familiar with, but then I could have an object as well. So I kind of got to have my cake and eat it, you know. And then that's led me to doing, because I've now made several zoetropes using that process. It's like an established workflow for me now. So now I've started exploring other avenues using that process, such as this one here. There's a certain aesthetic that I can get on a computer that I can't get making something by hand. There's a level of complexity and a way of working that is completely non-linear and completely independent of materials and craft that I can only get that way. And then to be able to transfer that into a real object and to apply craft to it afterwards that's for me is really interesting. It's the Center for Print Research, so of course it's got the title, right? But I think there's a history of the place to start with. There's also this sort of sense of research. It's a Center for Print Research, so there's a sense of research and exploration, that definitely appeals to me. And then they've got this incredible workshop, right? So I wanted to have a go at that. I now have to produce something, and I always have that with the work, but at the same time, like having a deadline and having an agreement that you need to fulfill it's really useful. And then on top of that, there's these tangential things, such as like having a seminar. Well, I've not done that before, but it's actually really useful. It's actually really informative for me as an artist to explore my own practice, and how do I share that with other people? How do I explain my practice to other people? I think there's like this myth of an artist working on his own, and or on their own, but in reality, sitting on your own all day isn't a great deal of it's not a great deal of fun. Well, actually, it's fine because you're kind of lost in your world, but you need people to share the work and to create new horizons and that sort of thing. And the residency provides that, because now I've made all these connections with people, and it's like, oh, well, what about if we did this, and what about if we did that? So that's really useful.